What is your sense right now of where a possible deal stands between the U.S. and Canada?
Well, I really hope so. Something gets worked out. Secretary Lutnick is a very, very smart business person. And so is President Trump, a very smart business person. And what has happened over the last day or two has put both countries into absolute chaos right now. President Trump ran on creating more jobs, lowering inflation, and this is just totally backfired. Inflation is going to hit the American people and Canadians. Manufacturing plants will close, assembly lines will shut down within a week in the auto sector, and this is all unnecessary. If you look at our overall trade, Canada is your number one customer in the world. We buy more products than anyone in the world, number one trading partner to 28 states. And we want that to continue. I want to build an AMCAN fortress, two greatest countries in the entire world, protecting both countries against China. And that's what we focus on.
What were your conversations with Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, like, and what was the sense that you got?
Well, I just told them exactly the way the Canadians feel, and the retaliation we're forced to. And I want to apologize to the American people for having to do this. But we never started this, and it was unfortunate. One person's responsible, and that's President Trump. I've talked to endless Americans. I spent 20 years of my life in our Chicago, New Jersey facilities. The Canadians love Americans. They love the U.S. They look at Americans as part of the family, and so do I. And this is totally unnecessary. If you take the energy, the oil, the 4.3 million barrels we ship down daily to the U.S., take that off the balance sheet, there's $55 billion surplus, trade surplus in favor of the U.S. I have no problem with that whatsoever, but we need each other. You need our lumber to build the homes. You need the oil to keep the economy going. The electricity we ship down there from many provinces keep the lights on. Ontario keeps the lights on to 1.5 million homes and businesses in New York.
Would you ever shut the switch off? Because you had threatened that, Premier. You had said if they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do everything, including cut off energy. With a smile on my face, they rely on their energy. They need to feel the pain. Do you really think that the president wants to annihilate Ontario, and do you really want Americans to feel pain if this continues?
You know something? Absolutely. He wants to close down manufacturing plants in Ontario. He wants to annihilate Canadians, take food off their table until they can't pay their mortgages. Unacceptable. I do not want to do this to the Americans, but we have to retaliate. When our country, our sovereignty is at risk right now, I will do everything and anything and use every tool in our toolkit to make sure we come to a resolution.
Is that the ultimate, shutting off the electricity?
Yeah, that's the last step I want to do. Do you know what I'd rather do, Blake? I'd rather send you more electricity. I'd rather send you more critical minerals. 50% of high-grade nickel that manufacturers and military uses in the U.S. comes from Ontario. I want to double that. I want to send you more lithium, more cobalt. We have more critical minerals than anywhere in the world, right across the border. Why are we doing this? We're so strong when we're united. And never in a million years would anyone think of this. I've talked to a lot of Republican congresspeople and senators and governors. Not one has said this is a great idea. They said the total opposite. This is going to be a disaster, along with Democrats as well.
Here was Prime Minister Trudeau earlier today. I want to get your reaction on the other side.
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal. But Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
President Trump then responded basically saying, if you come back at us with retaliatory tariffs, we'll hit you back with reciprocal tariffs. There was a lot of tough talk earlier today, Mr. Premier, but I want to leave you with this. Is it your sense, as you talk to us tonight here in the United States, is it your sense that a deal gets done soon and that these tariffs get pulled off?
Well, I'll pray to God for the sake of the American people and the Canadian people. We need to take them off and focus on the real enemy. The real enemy is China, shipping in these cheap parts. I'm all for tariffing every item that comes out of China. We need to stand united. We share the same values. there's over close to 1 million Americans living in Canada and 1 million Canadians living in the U.S. Our auto chain, auto sector, I should say, is so integrated since 1960s. Parts go back and forth across the border 8 times. So you can't unscramble an egg. You got to make the omelet bigger.
So how much longer do you think this lasts? I'll leave it there.
Well, I hope it stops within the next few days, because it's going to be a disaster. And I'm not just saying that. It will be an absolute disaster for both countries.
Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.